webinar today with Loveland Innovations and Capital Construction. My name is Kyle Miller. I'm going to be kind of moderating this a bit and then hosting from DJI's side. But we are going to give it just a minute or two here to let people kind of finish trickling in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Some things just to mention while we wait. This will be recorded, and then we will be posting it within usually 3 to 4 days after the webinar. And then also there are some areas on GoToWebinar that if you want to add in on the chat section, if you want to add in some of the questions or in the questions section, you're more than welcome to. We should have some time at the end of this webinar to be able to answer some of those questions. So we're one after. We'll give it just a couple more seconds here before we get started.
Hey, Kyle?
Yes.
May I say that you're on the final slide for the presentation? There you go.
Slide, how did this Loveland tool start? And how did Loveland come to be?
So it's created by Jim Loveland. He spent 30 plus years working alongside his father and other family members to build and grow the largest estimating platform in claims technology that's used in property and casualty insurance space. And Jim's dedication to the industry allowed him to assume the role as president and CEO at Xactware. Imaging was created not just as a roof inspection tool, but as a technological revolution. Our platform is a result of advanced AI algorithms, sophisticated DJI technology like yours, Kyle, and deep industry knowledge that's updated on a regular basis with ideas and inputs from our valued partners such as Derek. And what does this mean for you and your properties? Well, simply put, it's streamlining efficiency, it's boosting accuracy, improving the quality of life by reducing unnecessary and dangerous work. Our goal is to empower our partners with a level of detail that once appeared almost impossible to do in the time it takes to perform a standard inspection. I'd like to take a moment and compare the traditional manual data collection and analysis methods with this new automated AI approach. In the past, our partners' manual inspection would involve a lot of manpower, time, and risk. Field inspectors physically climb up and measure roofs. Some of them are extremely steep, extremely high. They would have to meticulously check for damage and make estimates that were often influenced by human error. The process was slow, labor-intensive, and at times subjective. But on the other hand, with our technology imaging, the AI drone technology eliminated the need for risky, time-assuming climbs. The imaging platform is powered by advanced AI damage detection, allowing you to analyze the data captured accurately and consistently, highlighting damage through an unbiased third-party lens. And all of this happens in a fraction of the time it used to set up the ladder. It makes it faster, more informed decisions, delivers more revenue to the bottom line. And the main benefits are enhanced safety, improved accuracy, and increased efficiency. I mean, these benefits are clear to us because I work here, Derek's been using it, but we'll take a deeper dive into how capital construction has utilized the platform, and we'll demonstrate these benefits in the real world situations.
Perfect. So as we kind of open up the discussion of how Derek's been able to utilize both drones and Loveland, first I want to ask a quick poll question. So let me go ahead and kick that off. All right. So we just want to gauge the audience to see what level that the audience is at. Are they still looking to invest in drones for the first time? Have they invested in drones before? Have they adopted to the new Mavic 3 Enterprise? Are they flying consumer drones with the Mavic 2 Pro? Or even the Phantom 4 Pro with the mechanical shutter, but a bit of older technology there. So just trying to gauge. It looks like we've got decent adoption there with the Mavic 3 Enterprise based off the poll questions, about a third. And then from there, we still have about a 20% with other, and then 20%-ish with Mavic 2 Pro, and then also 20% with no. So you're seeing a lot of Mavic 2 Pro, Mavic 3 Enterprise. We do have a slide kind of comparing the two and what that looks like. So let's go ahead and let's close that. And we should be back on the sharing slide screen. Perfect. So let's go ahead and open up that main discussion between with Derek. So why use drone inspections and roofing? Maybe I'll kick it over to Thomas.
Yeah, sounds good. So, Derek, thank you for joining us. I mean, you're a very highly valued partner, and you have firsthand experience with the efficiency, safety, and accuracy brought about by aerial roof inspections with imaging. It's my pleasure to have you here with us, and I'd like for you to share some of your insights. Derek, can you share with us some of the major challenges and limitations you faced when conducting manual roof inspections before integrating imaging into your process?
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's before we incorporated Loveland imaging into our day-to-day operations. It was a lot of works leading up to. We had to look at the property. Is it 3 stories, a 2 stories, it's steep, access, all these different components. On top of that, safety is always key and paramount when it comes to what we do. And it was very time consuming because if it was high, we'd have to have a ladder assist, a lot of different components that take up manpower, time, and really make for inefficient because we're limited on where we can walk, how we can walk, and those kind of constraints. So we knew that there was a need to make our time more valuable and invest into some technology that can help get these done quicker, faster, safer, and also on a deployable platform, as we were talking earlier about a national level.
Thank you for that. So let's talk to the audience about your transition to imaging and implementing aerial inspections. What were the immediate benefits that you experienced in terms of efficiency?
So I specifically work on large loss properties, so rental, HOA properties, owner-operator associations. And so when we're talking about scale with a large footprint with acreage, it takes time to pack up your ladder, move from one building to the other. And so immediately benefit that we had is time on site. We went from spending hours and hours and hours on site, manually documenting, taking pictures, making sure we have them in order, to now with the imaging and now the Mavic 3 Enterprise, we can get this done in literally a fraction of the time with so much attention to detail that it goes beyond just the damage assessment. So it immediately saved time, made it safer for all my reps. I can now easily take the drone and go across the country, and I don't have to worry about packing a ladder, trying to set up a ladder assist or anything like that. I can do everything by myself, and my reps can too.
Oh, that's great. Now, you did mention safety of your reps. You know, that is a very important topic in the construction world. So how has using aerial roof inspections impacted the safety condition for your inspection teams?
I no longer have to worry about the variables that are out of our control, age of the roof, because when we're dealing with older roofs, granular loss, steep, all these different variables on a roof, temperature impact the accessibility of the roof. All these things I now have empowered my reps to be able to have the control and safety while on site to be able to perform these inspections with a great level of confidence. And that confidence now is exuded when they talk to their clients, say, here's the report, this is what we found. So it's drastically helped them gain more confidence and more autonomy over the process, whereas before they're reliant on maybe a ladder assist, or maybe they're not even comfortable climbing a roof, which is completely fine. This technology has allowed them to now take back that control, to own their clients, and to make sure they're giving them the best possible outcome when it comes to an inspection.
Oh, that's great. Now, you spoke on the accuracy that's provided in inspections. Since incorporating imaging and drone technology, how has this impacted your damage assessments and the capital expenditure budgetary planning that you do with your clients?
Yeah, I mean, it's really impacted our clients because, you know, when we incorporate into bids or retail work, we're talking about time on site, which all impact the bottom line when it comes to our clients. Because of the efficiency we're able to offer these inspections at no cost to our owner operators and our associations to be able to give them more confidence year over year to make sure things are on pace and have a baseline or accurate assessment. And the level of detail we can get, especially with the new camera, shutter speed, and everything else, the amount of detail we get capture with these drones is unreal as compared to even comparing to the Mavic 2 Pro that we used prior. And we'll get into the comparison, but the Mavic 3 Enterprise has drastically changed the game when it comes to data capturing and detail and the efficiency we're seeing.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for these valuable insights. So it's clear that adopting aerial roof inspections using imaging can make a significant difference in the way our industry conducts property assessments. Not only is it streamlining these processes, but it's promoting safety and enhances the accuracy of your inspections. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to that?
It comes down to, I don't look at it as I'm spending X amount of money on the software and technology. It's how can I have a client-focused approach to make sure I'm giving them the best possible product, the best possible assessment that they can make very sound, savvy decisions on, not just now, but long term. And that's ultimately what it comes down to, because that return will come exponentially when you invest in the proper tools, especially when you're with a company like Imaging partnering with the DJI platform. Everything is changing. Everyone's trying to keep up, and we're ahead of the curve. And with this software and everything it's able to do with the technology, we're able to stay ahead of that curve to give the best possible product for our clients.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. I thank you for that. So, Kyle, I'll hand the mic back over to you, and let's go into the hardware factor.
Sure thing. Thanks, Thomas. So, opening this up, Derek, a little bit more, you talked about some older drone hardware models. Can you take us through what the capital construction drone program has been, kind of when it started, and the typical airframes that you've been using all the way up until today?
Yeah, we started with way back with the Phantom, and it did the job for what we needed it to, but it was cumbersome, it was heavy, the transportation took up a lot, and for every picture you had to pause, and it was just very time consuming. Battery life was another one. We had to worry about if we got up close to the roof, downdrafts would push it into the roof. We had, so there's a lot of things that it worked, but in our industry, we had to be very cognizant of because of just how it was built. We then transitioned to the Mavic 2 Pro, which, jumping from the Phantom to the Pro, absolutely was a game changer, but even then still had some limitations when it comes to camera, the clarity when it comes to how far off the roof you had to be, or even elevation, taking pictures. We found a niche for it. But when we got introduced to the Mavic 3 Enterprise and what it could do, that everything drastically changed. And I mean, it's a complete transformation as to the speed at which the Mavic 3 Enterprise can do the inspections. It can be moving while it's taking pictures. And those pictures are so detailed, which saves time. The ability to zoom, I can now pause from one area and I can take pictures from wherever I need to, zoom in for detailed clarity. I can now avoid obstacles. So even my pilots that have are maybe apprehensive about obstacles, trees, and that kind of stuff, I now don't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry about that because now they can use a zoom feature and still get the clarity of the picture without having to worry about obstacles or anything like that. And it's just in flight time. The length of the battery time with everything that it's able to do, we're increasing the flight time, which also increases our productivity efficiency on site. So the Mavic 3 Enterprise literally has been a game changer, even from the Mavic 2.
That's great to hear. Going kind of down the selling points, as to say, on why to upgrade. We've got a nice graph here kind of showing the different comparisons. What has been the main use case of using drones on the job site? Has it been monitoring job site progress, or has it been mainly on the roofing aspect and going through after damage?
I'm going to be very transparent and say I've leveraged this on every single component of a project. From the initial inspection, when we do our lawnmowers, I get pictures of the entire surround of the property. So when I'm trying to plan I have all the pictures as to where I can stage, where I can do things. From the actual assessment itself, when we do the detailed checks, I can get very accurate pictures there. To even progress, because the best part is when you run that lawnmower, you're taking the same pictures over and over again for the same spot. So you really have a before and after of the exact same location. So I've used this in every single area of the inspection process or the selling process. And most importantly for our industry, when it comes to conditions prior to us working on it, we deal with homeowners, renters, always say, well, you damaged this or you did this. These drones document so many angles and so many pictures that I can reference back to those pictures and say, this is what the condition was before, and that clarity, and it saves us a lot of money as well. So we've really leveraged this drone and this technology in all aspects of what we do.
That's great to hear. Leveraging in all aspects. Have you played around with any of the Mavic 3 thermal at all, or has it mainly been mapping with visual?
It's mainly been mapping with visual. You know, we've looked at the thermal, and that is definitely the next step that we're going to take in the progression, just because of kind of work that now we're getting into a little bit more so. But yeah, we haven't really dabbled in that yet.
No worries. At the price point of the Mavic 3 thermal, especially when you compare it to the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced and what the Mavic 3 thermal can do from an inspection aspect, it does bring a lot of extra value. And I guess the final question on this slide would be, what does the average job site look like to you that you're pulling up and going to be flying? Is it going to be something that's fairly vast, or is it something that varies, sub-acre to 40-plus acre job sites?
It really varies. We do work from 4 building, a couple acre properties to we have a few that we're working on right now that we've used that span 50 acres with 118 different buildings and outcroppings that we have to map and detail checks and video. So really it varies, but having a drone that has the versatility to be able to go from the small projects that are inner city to vast, wide open, really is key for us, that it's a one-stop shop for what we need it to do.
Yeah, a drone that bundle for $4,500 that can take imagery at 0.7 seconds with a mechanical shutter, getting crisp imagery so that you can cover those very large job sites. And even though I've got a really fun drone behind me and we love flying M300s, it's kind of crazy to see how scalable this Mavic 3 Enterprise series is. I know I said one question before, but I do have one more question. You mentioned about accuracy on the previous slide. Can you talk to me a little bit more about the accuracy and how important it is to you? And then if you guys are doing anything as far as RTK modules, or mainly just looking for the mechanical shutter crispness of the Mavic 3 Enterprise?
Well, when it comes to the accuracy, it's not only the detail of the pictures and what you're capturing with the camera, but when it comes to specifically damage and storm work, every single picture is geotagged with the direction of where the drone is facing, and you can overlay that with the storm direction. So we get a lot of carriers saying that, that's old damage or the storm was from this direction. Well, when I'm doing putting my report together, it captures exactly where that picture was taken, what direction it was facing, and now you overlay that with ARIS weather reports and what direction that you can now incorporate into your report. With all that data that we're putting together, we are now giving a full suite of accuracy to this date of loss occurred at this property, and this is the damage from that. Basically taking away the arguments that a lot of our large loss carriers have, and that accuracy is bar none what has saved us and given us the approval ratings that we have.
That's great to hear. So getting into the next slide, I'm going to be handing it back over to Thomas to ask some questions about Derek, but kind of meeting hardware and software together.
Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, sounds like drone technology has come a long way over the past decade. You guys have that 10-year challenge, and it's become an increasingly common tool across various industries with a very high level of adoption in the roofing industry. But like any tool, the drone's effectiveness is deeply influenced by how the partner implements it into their workflow and the platform that they want to pair it with. So before we dive into the benefits of integration, I just want to ask Derek a quick question. Could you tell us your experience with drones before the imaging platform? Like, how effective were they as just a standalone tool?
They were limited as just a standalone. It was very cumbersome because you're having to take pictures, manual pictures. So you're trying to guesstimate what's going to be the best angle, what's going to be the best height, what's going to be the best way to capture this property, what am I going to need? And you're also trying to get your detailed checks. And then when you get the picture, you're trying to use your own visualization to zoom in and say, that looks like hail, that looks like hail, that looks like something. Whereas, and then you're having to go back, manually upload, take the micro SD card into your computer, whatever you have, upload it. And now you're having to sort through everything. And so not only was it time consuming on site, but then the workload afterwards was also time consuming because it was manually taking the pictures, trying to put it into your own kind of report, and having that consistency in the reports definitely was a big challenge.
Oh, I could definitely see that. So now that you're using drones in conjunction with imaging, do you feel that there's a significant difference between the different drone models in terms of performance and output, and how our AI works with the images captured?
There's no doubt in my mind that all that combined has completely transformed what I do. And it is such a seamless process. And, to say that it completely takes away the human aspect of it, I would be lying, because you still have to go through the reports. But the best part about that is you need to own your inspection. So going through and learning what is damaged, going through those pictures, saying, yep, that's a false positive, or that, that all adds a level of accuracy that we've reviewed all these, we've looked at them, we've seen them, and this is what we determined to be hail. And the best part about the technology, when you're marrying the hardware with the software and the AI algorithm, that AI learns what we're saying is a false positive. And so every single time, with a high level of confidence, we're getting better and better at what we do because of the inspections that we're doing.
Well, thank you. Those are
To adjust without any limitations up on the roof.
To touch on the whole measurements and the mapping, doing it the hard way or the old way in sketching, that was great, but to have something referenced back. So we'll touch on it a little bit later in the slides, but the 3D modeling with the sketching, I've went to clients and I've been able to do the 3D model, and it has all the measurements. I can tell them exactly where I'm pulling the information from, instead of just me writing it down, them taking my word for it. They can actually see through the 3D model where the measurements are taken, how it's put together, how we get our estimate, and really we're empowering them because they're seeing what we're seeing. And it's kind of cool because when we're on site doing this, the side effect of everything we're doing is community involvement. When we're on site with these drones, people are coming out saying, oh, this is so cool. They're asking questions. And really, that's what Capital loves doing, is this community involvement of every property we go on, to really see the excitement that we're here to help. This is what we're doing. And it really captures the imagination of a lot of kids when they see drones flying. It's something that's new and it's cool. So really, everything that it just all kind of comes together to a great experience.
That's really awesome, Derek. So from what you're saying, the ability to provide precise measurements and inspection grade models rather than the approximations helps you to enhance transparency, increase trust, and enable better decision making. Integrating advanced drone technology with AI-powered software like imaging, it's not just a smart business decision. It's a decision that prioritizes the need and satisfaction of your clients. So let's dive into how imaging in the DJI Mavic 3 has enhanced your damage assessment and helped in processing insurance claims. Beyond improving your inspections and your measurements, an important benefit of the imaging platform in conjunction with the DJI Mavic 3 Enterprise is how they enhance the damage assessments and your insurance claim process. It's a game changer. You're improving clarity and trust between those parties involved. I'd love to hear more about your experience in this area. how has imaging and the AI drone technology changed the way you handle damage assessments?
Well, you've hit the nail on the head when it comes to establishing the trust. And carriers know the different companies that are out there, and these carriers know who they can rely on to be able to do their due diligence and their proper documentation prior to calling a claim in or recommending a claim be filed. And because of that, we're able to go out there, properly map, damage assess, do all those components, but then we can incorporate the roof measurements into our estimate. So because of the detailed report, the measurements, before we meet any adjuster on site, we're having a detailed inspection report with pictures and everything. We have an exactimate estimate, hard copy with us, and we have an ESX file with us as well for every inspection that we go on. And when we meet an adjuster, before we even look at it, we hand over the ESX, we hand over the hard copy, and the damage assessment said, here's all your work. And literally, we make the job of the insurance adjuster so easy because we've already done our homework and they already have this established trust that, the technology has given us consistency. That is the biggest thing in this industry, is consistency across the board. Whether I'm working in an office in Nashville, Denver, Dallas, or even here in Minneapolis, the client perception of what we're doing and the quality of product we're using and the technology is uniform across the board. They know what to expect, and it's clean, concise, to the point, without all the extras, and that consistency it looks professional. That's the biggest thing. Everything is professional from an outward appearance when they're looking at it, and that pays dividends, especially for owner operators of national companies. They want to partner with the professional companies that are out there, the ones that set themselves above the rest and are willing to invest whatever it takes to give them the competitive advantage. So we're maximizing our opportunities.
Wow, that's great. And, you mentioned earlier that Bristol project, and, the transparency and accuracy was crucial in building that trust. And you say it was turned down, 3 different times, and then took 2 hours with the Mavic 3 and imaging to get a $1.9 million job. And, your experience with this leads us nicely into this topic of winning more bids. One of the critical advantages of using the imaging platform and the DJI Mavic 3 Enterprise is the ability to provide those accurate estimates. It's giving your company a competitive edge. So could you contrast your bidding process before and after the technologies, and how has the confidence in your estimates increased amongst clients like Bristol?
Well, I'm going to cite the client like Bristol. So the client that we had at Bristol, of course, they were apprehensive. They knew who we are, so they already had trust in who we are, but we were not really tested in that kind of realm before. And so when we went and we did our work, we just said, trust the process, trust what we're doing. We know how to get this taken care of. Once that job got approved, we were given 2 other properties that we have right now estimates that are totaling about $6 million because of that one project, because of their trust that the technology, the report, and the professionalism we have put forth has now paid for 2 other projects that they've handed over to us. And these are national clients. These aren't just companies, your mom and pop shops. These are national clients worth billions of dollars in assets that are trusting us with their properties. And, I don't know if I really need to say anything more, but that speaks volumes to the technology. But I'm not going to take anything away from Capital, my representatives, because my team are the best in the industry. They're relationship based. They know, they're client focused. They know what their clients are looking for. They know what they want, which is why when we invested in this software, they were like, heck yeah, this is going to completely change what we're doing. So our process now, I no longer have to sell because our work speaks for itself. They know exactly what they're getting when they partner with Capital, and they know exactly what kind of reports, what kind of outcome they're going to get when they trust us.
Wow, that really does highlight the transformative power of technology. I mean, your accurate estimates, precise measurements, detailed reports. Not only are you standing out from the competition, but you're building a relationship of trust, and your workers that are building that same. relationship and expanding on that, and you're getting more projects. That's awesome. So let's move on to how this is accelerated in the claims process.
Well, it's in the claims process again. It has everything is you hear me harp on data, and I hate to keep speaking to it, but it's so key in this space. Everything is data driven, and giving the carrier all the basically knowing what objections they're going to have and being able to overcome them before they're even asked. So when we show up, we do our whole pre-inspection process where we run the DJI, we run the imaging technology, we pull the reports, we pull the measurements, we incorporate that into Xactimate, we run the Xactimate estimate, we have all that put together, you have the historical data, and then you have the pictures, and then you put that all on an ESX file, so all they have to do is plug in their macros, and guess what? They're good to go. I just made their job for them, so it's made the claims process so speedy. And every single adjuster I've met on site, when I come with that ESX, like, is this for me? I'm like, absolutely. And I've had the turnaround time is a fraction of the time of what it used to take, because then they have to take time to build out, do everything. I've already done all that for them. I got accurate counts, measurements, everything for them. And when they have to go get approval from their supervisor, I already have the damage report and assessment done, and it can show us where every one of my test scores were done with geotagging to show. So I overcome all your objections before you have it, and that approval process is why we're so good at what we do.
Wow, that's a lot of key differences between this and the old process. I mean, we currently have 45 insurance carriers that utilize our platform in their claims process. And with you and the speed and accuracy of the technology and putting it all together for them, you're not only saving yourself time, but you're saving a great deal of stress for all parties involved. I mean, the insurance adjuster's experience, the drone technology has revolutionized their role and the way that you interact in their role. The old method, insurance adjusters would have to be on site. They'd have to assess the old-fashioned way, document their findings. But with the superior drone technology and imaging, it looks like adjusters can kind of review your findings virtually or maybe on site at times and determine whether or not they can approve it based on your reports, giving them improving their ability to process these claims quickly, especially during a CAT event. So what have your experiences been like with working with a field adjuster compared to a desk adjuster, and has imaging in the Mavic 3 helped bridge this gap to speed that process up for you?
We haven't seen a complete shift from the field adjusters. There's always going to be a need for that, just because you have those companies that are doing business the wrong way. So you're always going to have a need for a field adjuster. But when you can bridge the gap between giving them everything they need, and because it's all a numbers game. Can they justify the damage and what we're putting forth? And if we can show that we've put together this work for them, and we have documentation, they say, well, do you have pictures of this? I mean, every single property I'm getting, because of just the automated system, I'm getting 180 pictures per property, per building, not per property, per building. So any angle, anything I can need to do, I have that right there. So now if they have a question as to, well, do you have a picture of this? Absolutely. I can send them a picture. Or do you have an overview of this? Absolutely, I do. Here's our whole suite of pictures that we have. And so you're really making it more efficient for them. But I do see where, because it's all money, it's all time with these CAT events, how can these insurance carriers save money and save time and so get approval? And so investing in technology and be future thinking, forward thinking, this is the way forward. And so it may not be a complete adopted thing now, but we know that that's where this is going to go. And to be on board with that is going to pay dividends long term.
Yeah, especially with your relationships and the trust you're building, and them knowing that when you send something and it is correct. I mean, your insights are definitely bringing life to the transformative power of this technology. And as we've learned today, it not only enhances our work, but also streamlines the roles of all the stakeholders involved, from roofers to inspectors to the adjusters. Obviously, once you've performed the inspection and sold the client, you receive the approval from the insurance carrier, like you said on the Bristol job. it's time to build the job. So let's discuss how imaging is used for enhancing your project management, that side of your business.
Well, when it comes to project management, as I said earlier, it really captures all the variables that we're going to be looking at. The conditions around the buildings, height, elevation, the key components that are there. So really, it has given us everything we need to properly plan for the project and then execute the project, because we know all the conditions around. Where can we access the building? Where can we stage? Where can we have our shoots? Where can we do where our crew's going to be, where the trailer is going to be. This technology captures every single part of that. And I don't even think that was the main purpose of it, but because of the wide angle lens, the ability to capture a wide gamut of the frame, I have all that with these pictures.
That's really nice. So the power of this technology goes beyond simply just the inspection damage assessments. It's helping you with collaboration, communication, which are keys to successful project management. So have you used our APIs, or are you planning on integrating this into your collaboration and communication tools, such as your CRM system?
That is definitely the next progression of what we're going to look into. Anything to make our process seamless and more streamlined is going to be, it's already a pretty phenomenal program that we're running, where I can pick up and run with it with very little knowledge of a drone. Like, I don't need to fly a drone in order to do this. I just pick up and go, and it already is pre-programmed, so you can have no experience, pick up the software and run it. And so that is the next progression, because any more setting up that API to speak with our CRM and everything else is absolutely vital, because now we get even more data capture without manual programming or manual capture. It's going to be directly right there. So we know that it is going to be the next progression in our use of the technology.
That's awesome. So definitely the experiences you have clearly illustrate how technology can streamline our processes, saving you time and resources. And as we can see, it's not just having those advanced tools, it's about how these tools are integrated into the workflows and your strategies. I really appreciate your insights into the many ways that imaging has been utilized and can be utilized in the future within your business. This has really been eye-opening for myself, as well as many others.
Well, Thomas, one of the things that my hat's off to both DJI and imaging for this is when the path from the Phantom to the Mavic 2 Pro, you guys have really heard what us in the field and our pressure points have been. You've heard my complaints, my frustrations with getting air approval, with the pictures and the detail checks and everything, and you have made those adjustments. And that's why when you invest in the technology with the hardware and software, that partnership is key. Not just going with ones that we're just trying to keep up. Stick with the company that's leading the way, because you guys hear what we're talking about and you make those changes. If there's a bug, it's fixed within a day, if not less. And I love that about the technology, and that saves me a lot of time.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, we'll move on to the conclusion there, Kyle, here. So as we conclude this discussion today, it's clear that we're in the midst of a technological revolution that's reshaping the construction industry. Through the power of the DJI drone technology, integrated with imaging's AI damage detection software, and the help of our valued partners like Capital Construction, together, we're leading this transformation. This revolution isn't about replacing human expertise, but enhancing it. It's about enabling people to work smarter, to be more precise, efficient, and customer-centric. It's about bridging the industry gaps, enhancing your communication, and fostering that trust. For those of you who have yet to embrace these innovations, I encourage you to take this journey with us. Experience the power of the DJI Mavic 3 Enterprise and imaging for yourselves. Transform your business operations, provide unparalleled customer success, and excel in this highly competitive industry. Thank you all for joining us today, and a special thanks to our guest, Derek from Capital Construction, for sharing his experience and insights. If you have any further questions, or if you'd like to learn more